Currently in WWE, one of the biggest storylines going on is the Bloodline. The new Bloodline, the old Bloodline, The Rock, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, everybody under the sun related to the story somehow is consistently going to be in that main event slot. But something's off about the story. Something is wrong with it, and a lot of fans aren't feeling it all the way. I decided to look into this and figure out what really is the problem with the Bloodline. So the Bloodline is a very interesting group. They've been around since around 2020, and they've had a consistent, long, and good storyline for the past 4 years. And then, more recently, the new Bloodline emerged with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. And this group has felt weird because you're so used to seeing Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Sammy, and then finally you get this new group and they have different people representing previous people in the old group. Some of them, Jacob, better than others, Solo, but at the same time you see their highs and you're like, wow, this group really can be good. But then you see their lows and you're like, man, do I really want to watch when they come on TV? So I looked at the 3 biggest reasons why I personally think that the Bloodline are having their biggest issues now. The first of those is that they're consistently in that main event slot. If you look at the most recent 4 episodes of SmackDown, all of them have been main evented by the Bloodline. And 5 out of the last 6 have been main evented with the Bloodline, with that 6th one happening to be opened by Cody versus Solo in that steel cage match for the world title. So you look at this and you're like, okay, so they're constantly going to be in that main event. What could go wrong? The biggest issue with that is that it could get kind of boring at times. Imagine you watch a TV show and every episode ends basically the same way. Maybe the opposite of what normally happens, but that's maybe every third of the episodes. The other 2/3 are almost 100% going to end the exact same way. Maybe the main character is captured and they need to escape from something. Or in that other third, they do escape. Why would you want to keep watching if you know really the end of almost every single episode? You wouldn't. But with WWE, especially SmackDown, almost every episode is ending up to end with the Bloodline. You'll have Solo in a tag team match. You'll have a Roman promo. You'll have a certain Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson making his appearance. Oh, right. Dwayne's not coming back until 2025, confirmed by himself. So you're telling me that Dwayne Johnson was like, I need to make my presence known, but I'm not really going to be here until 2025, and that's in 3 months. I think I'm going to take the main event from Drew and Punk. You know, why would they need the main event when I can take the main event? What could go wrong? And that's another issue there. They kind of feel too high priority. They got that Bloodline nepotism. They're getting picked to be in that main event because of who's in their family. As I said, Dwayne, you got Roman, 2 of your biggest guys, now and then. And at the same time, you have the new members that are coming in slowly who, more or less, aren't always that good. Solo and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. If I'm being honest, I do think that if you put them in that main event slot, you can have an interesting storyline. But you do need to get some work done when it comes to Solo's matches, Tonga Loa's matches, Solo's promos, and otherwise, I think the Bloodline should, in theory, be a good group. You have an all-around good wrestler in Jacob Fatu. You've got a pretty solid wrestler and great on the mic, Tama Tonga. You've got a solid on the mic, Tonga Loa, not great in the ring. And you've got a mid in the middle, Solo Sikoa. So just make Jacob the top guy, and there you go. But that's not how it is, because Solo needs to be the top guy. He needs to be the next tribal chief. But that's not working. For example, imagine you go to see a band, and there are 4 members in the band. There's the main singer. He's okay. He's not incredible or anything, but he's solid enough. There's the drummer, who sometimes will mess up, but is otherwise decent enough. There's the bassist, who's pretty freaking good. You know, he doesn't really get much of shine because he's not used that much in the band, but when he does play, it's pretty entertaining. And then you have your lead guitar, who is awesome at what he does. And whenever he gets the chance to do a solo, he takes it and he rocks the house. Who do you want to see the most? Probably the lead guitarist, right? And that's the Bloodline for you. You can input for yourself who each member of that is relative to the Bloodline. However, the point still stands. If you can improve the Bloodline, they can work in that main event as much as they would like. But at the state that they're in right now, don't, is all I'm going to say. The second thing that's really holding the Bloodline back is how long that story's been going. And as I said, that's a good thing. I actually like that their story's been going on this long. But this seems like a good time for it to finish, realistically. If you didn't want to stretch this out to Mania, which is clearly what they're doing, then this is a great time to end it. You can end it at Survivor Series, Crown Jewel, whatever you really want. But they need to stretch it out to WrestleMania. You know, Rock's not coming back till 2025. Who really knows what the War Games match is going to be? Like, at this point, is it 4-on-4? Is it 5-on-5? Do you have, like, Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy versus Solo, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, and Jacob? Like, what do you have? Do you have Hikuleo in there as well? Like, what's the situation going to be? And all these questions arise, and it would be simplified if, oh, The Rock will just join the heel side, and then Hikuleo will actually be a good guy, or Cody will join them, or something like that. That solves your problem. But you still have all these questions because mainly Rock's just not coming back. And that really puts a damper on the Bloodline storyline. It's a big blot in the middle of the story, you could say. Like, you're reading a book and you accidentally spill, like, hot sauce on it. You're like, oh, shoot. Can't read this. I need to clean my book. You try and wipe it off and it gets all over the cover. Like, one of those situations. And you could do a lot of things to make the Bloodline better. I do hope that they end up doing those things. Looking at you, Triple H. But the way that they've done this has not looked good going forward. I do hope, as I said, that they fix this. But there are a lot of self-inflicted issues within the Bloodline story that can very easily be fixed, but so far have not had the effort put towards them to do so. Then the last kind of big flaw that I wanted to look at is that the story in and of itself has felt kind of repetitive, if I'm being honest. Think about it. You've had Solo and Cody a couple of times now. You had the tag match at Money in the Bank that was pretty boring. I don't even remember if they had a match at WrestleMania because I don't know if they existed at the time. Because I'm not invested in this story. I'm like, okay, I don't believe in Solo. I think Jacob's great and I think the tag team's fine. But I don't really want to see him go against Roman, and they're making Roman seem like weak against them, which is really dumb. Why is Roman getting beat down by Solo Sikoa? Like, what are we doing here? And the tag match at Bad Blood kind of intensified that because I want to see them do well, but I don't believe that they can where they're at. So no matter who won the match at Bad Blood, I wasn't going to be very happy. Because if the new Bloodline won, I was like, you had Cody and Roman lose to them. But in the case that actually happened, when they lost, I was like, you're trying to push them and they lose. Because there's no good middle ground for that. And unfortunately, that's a big self-inflicted wound, as I mentioned a few moments ago. So why is the Bloodline story just the same thing over and over and over again? Think about it. As I said earlier, you have the same matches, the same idea for a storyline, and you have this new Bloodline that's going to stop them, but no, they just get beat down anyways, whatever. And it's weird because they took what happened with the Bloodline from 2020 to 2023. They just inserted the new Bloodline as one of those babyface teams they took out. Like, remember when they beat Drew, Sheamus, and the Brawling Brutes? Like, that group. They inserted them into that slot, beat them, and are moving on right now. And yes, they will change this, and they're going to have the match, the singles match, and this, that, and the other thing. But I'm just like, I've seen this so many times now. And I only started watching wrestling at Clash at the Castle 2022. And I'm already tired of this. Like, I missed out on all the pandemic era, all the worst times of WWE era, all that. And at the same time, I'm sitting here like, can we not do this again? And self-inflicted, bad story. But that is what I have to say. That's why I think the Bloodline is not doing as well as it probably should. I think a good way to fix this, if you want to have an answer from me here, is you take them out of the main event so consistently. I think you can have them be an opener. I think you can have them be, excuse me, a penultimate match, like the second to last match on a show. And then every now and then put them in that main event so that they can get some more like aura, I guess. But you want to build up the talent of Solo, Tama, and Tonga. That works. And still have them constantly on TV. And maybe you take them off TV for a week, because I think that's another thing. Just stop putting them on TV every week. You know how Cody isn't on TV every week anymore? Just do one of those. Just take him off TV for 1 week. They'll relax, they'll train, they'll go lift, whatever. They just take a week. They don't appear on TV. They do the live event circuit or whatever. And then you can keep them building up. Also, end this feud with Roman and all that, please. And then we can just have Rock Roman at Mania. So just get that done and over with. But yeah, that's my opinion on the Bloodline. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I kind of rambled there for the end of that. But nonetheless, make sure you have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever. Make sure to watch any former or future episodes on this channel. And goodbye.